people selling diamonds saying they have high-quality diamonds at rock-bottom prices. Can that happen?
Frank, that'd be like a Mercedes dealer saying they sold at the same price as a Yugo. That just doesn't happen in any industry, and people who believe it are always the ones looking for something too good to be true, and they normally find out later it was. In diamonds, when you talk about higher quality diamonds with credible diamond grading reports from GIA, AGS, or Forevermark, the prices are higher, but so is the quality and value. Now, for a customer to understand that, they have to try to learn things like going to the internet, but they're going to get confused because they don't have an expert to ask questions to. The best way to get answers is to come in one of our stores and ask one of our professionals what those questions are and have them explain real diamonds to you. The result will be you'll understand more about a diamond's quality, price, and value by coming in.
Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson. Trevor Lawrence is expected to take the next step in leading the team this season for the 2023 season. Will Brunson of CBS Sports recently had high praise for the QB, placing him in the elite category with the likes of Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert. All the passes in that tier are pretty good, but are missing something to join the upper echelon. Some disturbing news out of Major League Baseball. The league is suspending New York Yankee relief pitcher Jimmy Cordero for the remainder of the 2023 season for violating the league's joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy. The Yankees released a statement in support of the suspension. Damian Lillard watch continues for the Miami Heat. Lillard, after requesting a trade from Portland, listed Miami as his first choice. There will need to be a third team involved in order to properly compensate Portland for the All-Star guard. At your 1010XL local sports updates, I'm Sam Nelson for 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's 85 degrees at 10 o'clock. Time at 10 brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Last year's last year, and you just have to keep reiterating the point. Like, I've said this in here before. It's, it's a new team. It's a new season. We got to start over, and that's got to be the mentality. It's great what we did, but we haven't done anything in 23. We haven't played a football game yet.
It just really feels like, for the first time in my 20 years, that not only the needle pointed up, but like way up, straight up. Like this thing jumping about, like they were about to jump on a rocket bound for the moon. And I just feel like that's where this team is headed.
So I think Trevor's going to win the MVP. I think Trevor's going to have an unbelievable season for a team that's going to win a lot of games against bad football teams.
Shotgun for Trevor. He drops. He looks. Fires left side of us. Caught! Good! Good! Zay Jones catches it! The two-point conversion is good! Jacksonville is taking the lead! How good is that?
I would say Tank Bigsby. I think he'll be the rookie that the nation kind of wakes up on.
Bigsby runs the opposite way and finds a crease. Inside the 30 with a cutback. Breaks a tackle. Inside the 10. Goal line! Touchdown!
We've done all the work. The city's growing. The Jaguars are ascending. We have, new leadership in the mayor's office. Now is Jacksonville's time.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, it is our time. We are ascending. This is Jaguars Today. Good morning, everybody, or whatever time of day you happen to be listening to this program on one of our various replays. Jaguars Today for the next 2 hours with a visit with Donovan Darius. Coming up in about 35 minutes or so. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. Tony, good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Not much.
No?
No.
The lull that did you have? What's the first day of training camp? I feel like it's the 25th.
I think that's when the vets are in. I think the rookies are in the 21st.
Okay. That's quick, man.
Yeah.
I heard you talking about it with
yeah.
Jeff a few minutes ago. So that's a Friday, is that correct? The 21st, I think, if I'm doing my math right?
Yeah, I think that's the Friday, and then it's the next Tuesday is when it opens officially.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rookies come in, get acclimated, all that kind of good stuff. But it won't be long before we'll have actual news on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And until then, let's hope we don't have any news on the Jacksonville Jaguars other than perhaps
for sure
something with the franchise tag deadline coming up with Evan Ingram. Now, 11 days away if they're going to get a deal. Happened to be in the car yesterday, played a little golf. What a surprise. this time of year. I honestly am trying to get it in as much as possible before training camp opens up. And then, the year is split between football season, which basically runs late July, hopefully into late January, early February. Doesn't always happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
And try to get it in while you can, Tone. But I was in the car and tuning into the Frangie show. Frangie nowhere to be found, by the way, for the record. How many weeks of vacation does that equal? I'm going to say 8, but I could be low on that. Anyway, Lauren Brooks doing a great job commanding presence, orchestrating the field there with the Hammer Hayes Carline, and Mike DeRocco was sitting in there as well, and they had a lot of Jaguar discussion going on. And D-Rock basically talked about how next week is when the staff will get back in, and if there's going to be a final push, it's going to come then. Because what are we, I think it's a week from next Monday is the deadline to get a deal done with Evan Ingram. At this point, could it get done? Sure.
Yeah.
I would bet against it at this point, and if it doesn't happen, the likelihood of Evan Ingram not playing here beyond this season goes up significantly.
Sure.
I think in my estimation. But then again, if the salary cap rises enough next year, maybe they get a lot of different things accomplished. But the main thing I wanted to steal from the Frangie show yesterday was Lauren Brooks asked a question of the guys, and I don't know if it was something that was well planned out or kind of impromptu, but I do like to give credit where credit is due. And Lauren asked, I believe it was, is Doug Pederson a better play caller or head coach? Meaning all the other stuff. Put the play calling aspect aside. Is he better at that, or is he better at all the other things collectively that a head coach is asked to do? And each of them came down on a different side of it, D-Rock and Hayes. One went with play calling, one went with the other stuff. So we tried to take it and, as they used to say, or probably still do on American Idol, make it our own, Tony. So we tweaked it just a little bit, right? You got to, this is going to be known as the Jaguars Today rendition of that question today. But we try to break down some of the components of what goes into it. Certainly play calling. If you are a head coach who calls plays, that's a very important aspect. But there's a lot more to it. What about player development, right? And you could say, well, who is he directly responsible for? I think he's most responsible for Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence's advancement is most attributed to Doug Pederson. I'm saying Doug Pederson is most hands-on being a former quarterback, knowing that is where the ultimate success is going to lie with the development of that particular player.
Yeah, with a rookie year where it was hard to tell that his coach had hands, right? That's how bad it was around here.
Well, he had hands. They weren't on him, though. They were somewhere.
Yeah, we do have video evidence of the former coach's hands.
Yes, appendages.
Yes, we do have that going on. But, yeah, it's a totally different world for Trevor Lawrence with Doug Pederson as a head coach than obviously what he dealt with in his rookie year. And it showed up on the field, right? The promise of what he might possibly be, as a prospect showed up last year. And that is at least in part attributable to the coach doesn't stink, right? He's certainly not getting in his quarterback's way at this point. And it felt like there was a lot getting in Trevor Lawrence's way his rookie year.
And there's so many things, so many components that go into that you can break down, right? Like putting together a coaching staff that had, including himself, 4 former quarterbacks on it, right? And putting that kind of infrastructure in place to help Trevor Lawrence in his development, right? So that's part of it. One of the options we gave you today was building team culture. We talk about that a lot with this team, right? Everybody seemed to be on the same page. Nobody seemed there was not that resignation. You didn't hear that, man, I'm sick of losing. Of course they're sick of losing. Fans are sick of losing. You think these guys don't want to win? The vast majority of professional athletes, I think, care a lot. They may not express it the same way fans do.
Right.
And yes, they get paid millions of dollars to deal with their discontent if it happens to go that way. But this team didn't have those issues last year. And it seemed like, throw whatever cliche you want, all the oars were pulling in the same direction. They never got off point in at least expressing belief in what they were doing, that they could turn it around, that what they were doing was good enough, and that it really just came down to how they executed the vision of the head coach and the coaching staff. That's all part of the culture, right? We talk about, the kind of guys they bring in. you don't want a bunch of wallflowers, but you don't want a bunch of rock the boat, look at me guys either, right? So building team culture was one of them. I thought about putting in there, Tone, just being a leader of men. And we kind of, that you can fold that under team culture, or if you think that is significant enough, like Doug Pederson, what do you hear about a head coach? What do players tell you? Active and former players, just be consistent, right? You can give me bad news, but don't tell me A one day and tell me B the next day.
Right.
Then we're going to have an issue, right? So that's part of it. Jeff Prosser brought up when you mentioned this question to him, just being a psychologist, right? Getting those guys to buy in. Maybe that's part of the culture, but whatever, there's something that doesn't specifically get covered by play calling, player development, building team culture. You can vote for something else and tell us what you think that happens to be. But I thought a very, very good conversation starter from Lauren yesterday. So we thought we'd piggyback off of that and certainly give her full credit for coming up with it. But we're trying to twist it a little bit. Got some other interesting little things out there today, Tony, that we will touch on, including NFL.com predicting each team's non-quarterback most valuable player. It's not any great surprise who they selected for the Jags, but we'll discuss that, like who is in that category. I feel like we've done a lot of specific questions of the day, kind of targeting that, even if we haven't phrased it that exact way. And then CBS Sports did, it is rankings and list season, right? But they did, Will Brinson put out a quarterback ranking by tiers, and we talked about it yesterday. When you say something is second tier, it's kind of like doesn't sound very complimentary, right? It's not right there. But I don't think it's an insult to say Trevor Lawrence is on the second tier of quarterbacks. I think it's too much to put him in the Mahomes category now. And but Will Brinson, as you would suspect, has Trevor knocking right on the door of that kind of level. So that's fun. Like we mentioned, Double D coming on today. You can be a part of the program. 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Double D is going to be sitting in studio with us coming up about 30 minutes from now. We'll get his thoughts on training camp. Not quite being on the eve of it, but getting pretty darn close. And what are players doing right now, if they're smart, to get prepared for what's coming up in the rest of July and into August. So we'll talk about that today. On Twitter, you can reply to the poll question or give us any of your other thoughts by going to @MD_1010XL, @1010XL Fat Tony, and @1010XL Denmark, which also prompts an invite for you to continue to send in any nickname suggestions for Dylan yesterday. Did any, out of all the stuff we got, did any of that catch your mind or your eye or ear? Or
no,
any of that?
Not really.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing really jumped out at me.
Not Dan the Great.
It may be Dan the Great. May be my favorite right now.
That one caught my eye.
Yes, ears, eyes, and everything else. But it may just be that we call him Dylan or Denmark or
could be
something boring like that. Going forward, just actually using his name. That's possible. All right, we're off and rolling. Jaguars Today, one step closer to bringing that Lombardi Trophy to Duval County.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's coming this season, but we are one day closer, Tone. We're moving
true.
in that direction. Yeah. I got to believe. What is your confidence level that Trevor Lawrence plays here 12-plus years, right? What a beautiful thing. 10 more seasons here for Trevor Lawrence at minimum. What is your confidence level that the Jags do hoist the elusive Lombardi?
Pretty high.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
But certainly, there's no guarantee of that. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. Basically, is he going to play his second and third contract here? If I was going yes or no, I'd vote yes. That's the way that it's going to play out.
I would think so, too, but it wouldn't be 100% conviction.
No, it'd be like 85, something like that. Somewhere in that range for me.
85 might even be strong, I feel like there's going to be a great opportunity because the Jags are going to have one of the best quarterback rooms in the NFL for a long time to come. But damn it, if Miami didn't have that with Dan Marino, right? And they got there early and never got back and never really got that close to winning it all. And John Elway for years until the very latter stage of his career was in position, but didn't have the supporting cast around him. So a lot of other teams trying to vie for that title
Sure.
as well.
And when you're talking about trying to figure out what the long-term look is going to be, like it's hard to imagine that Patrick Mahomes is going to be allowed to play anywhere but Kansas City. Right? The Chiefs,
you wouldn't think.
Like, until he gets to the end of it, maybe it's that end of the career Montana thing. Maybe an injury happens like it did with Peyton, right? And the coach just say, you know what, we're not waiting on it. And he goes to Denver and succeeds at the level he succeeded there too. It's not like it's unheard of that these guys change teams at some point, but it does feel like with quarterbacks specifically, especially in this era of football, that it feels overwhelmingly likely. If your guy's healthy, right, Mahomes is going to spend his whole career there. My guess would be Burrow's going to be a Bengal his whole career, right? Like, I just
think.
I don't see that changing. I don't see Josh Allen playing anywhere but with the Buffalo Bills, ultimately, when everything is said and done. And I think Trevor, you have that conversation, talking about tier 2, right? And that's the group that he's in right now. I think he has an opportunity to play himself into tier 1 maybe this year. Right? And I think if he gets into that kind of conversation, then no, you don't let him play anywhere else.
Sure.
Right? Until something happens that forces your hand to make that happen. Right? Like Montana, they thought they were moving on to Steve Young. Okay. Right? It happened with Brett Favre in Green Bay. They were ready to move on to Aaron Rodgers, so they moved on to the next guy. But until you're 12 years down the line, if you got a player of that caliber, you don't play with it, is my guess at how these teams are going to handle it with all those guys. And why wouldn't you?
I don't disagree. But even with all that said, that's no guarantee.
No
because
guarantee.
Everybody else, no guarantee Joe Burrow wins one. He's been close. No guarantee Josh Allen wins one. He's been sort of close. By the way, Cage of Rage suggested Captain D for Now I Want Seafood. And a quick Google search confirms there are 5 locations conveniently located around the greater Duval area now. I don't know if I've ever eaten at a Captain D's. Have you ever?
It's been a long time.
They good? They okay?
They're fine.
They're fine?
I mean, it's fast food fish.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you know what they had in Asheville? Didn't go there because I'm on the weight loss kick. They had Long John Silver's, man. Give me a good battered plank of fish. I have no idea where that plank came from, what portion of what kind of fish we're talking about.
I had a friend of mine that worked there, and he would tell me the stories that they had a guy that would come through the drive-thru like at the end of the night every night and just like give me whatever leftover batter.
Oh, the crumbly batter, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a horror story about what went into those fillets. I'm glad it was the former. All right, we're off and rolling. Double D about 25 minutes away. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Captain Dylan Denmark. Captain D. That ain't going to work either. We'll keep working on it. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Dan Hicken.
I need that ball. Get me the ball.
Jeff Prosser.
You need the ball. Get me the ball.
Get you the ball.
Are you going to get me the ball?
I'll get you the ball.
Dan and Jeff, The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Boating is in your blood. You live for your time on the water and can't wait for your next adventure. At Batteries Plus, we have solutions to help power what moves you. Whether it's a deep cycle battery for your trolling motor or an onboard charger to make the day last a little longer, you'll find it at Batteries Plus. Shop boating essentials at your nearest Batteries Plus or visit us online at batteriesplus.com.
Whether you're in need of a simple AC repair or it's time to upgrade your HVAC system, Duck Air Conditioning is here to help. Give us a call today to schedule an estimate, 904-862-6769, or online at duckac.com.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting! Ow! That really hurts. Who throws a shoe?
Helmets and Heels.
Honestly.
With Lauren, Taylor, and Mia.
Tuesday nights at 6.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
And presented by Underwood Jewelers.
You fight like a woman.
On 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. Look, you've been hearing me talk about Zero Res for a while now, but there's 3 things they tell you that I agree with about their company. Best process, best people, and have a promise to do the best cleaning possible every time. And they offer a great deal every month. Well, guess what? July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. For home carpet cleaning, they're offering $49 per room. And for businesses, 20% off in July. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Heilman from the brand new Fourscore Golf Tavern. We do elevated food, drinks, and golf simulator fun. If you're looking for a delicious meal or maybe a spot for a client, we have lunch specials every day. Need to entertain a few people from out of town? Easy. Just reserve one of our 4 simulator bays. Lunch service starts at 11 a.m. daily. Located in San Marcos Square, we'll see you at lunch at Fourscore Golf Tavern.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
74.3% of those that own a home security system indicate that their security system and products make them feel safe. Because security cameras give you peace of mind. Denny Thompson here. Let Tyson Sound and Security assess your home security needs and keep the bad guys out so you can have full peace of mind too. While you're at it, ask them how they can help lower your home insurance payments. Visit TysonSoundandSecurity.com. Tyson Sound and Security, security and automation experts.
Business owners know Andy's Automotive and Truck Services for routine fleet maintenance or emergency repairs. Andy's offers after-hours and mobile service to minimize downtime and keep your fleet on the road. Visit andysats.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Huh. So, on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. We love you, Lifetime Enclosures. Someone suggested rotten for Dylan's nickname. Is there something rotten in the state of Denmark? I'm getting all Shakespearean here. So I had to look because I'm not exactly, that I was like, that's got to be Shakespeare. Don't know which play that is. It's Hamlet. From Hamlet, Tony, the phrase, in my mind's eye, that's where that phrase came from. Cruel to be kind, right? A whole bunch of them. Method to one's madness. All these Shakespeare's.
It's almost like he's influential.
Like
or something.
Wordsmith, this fellow here. I used to love playing as like a parlor game. It's like Biography at the turn of the century, did the 100 most influential people of the last millennia, right? From basically the year 1000 to 2000, roughly, right? And this is kind of a cool thing. There are very few modern people on the list, but Shakespeare was, I want to say he was like 6th or something like that. He was very high up there. And you don't even realize half the things you say that came right out of his books and plays and whatnot. All right.
No doubt.
So, anyway, all right. Let's see. Maybe Dylan Denmark and Donovan Darius can work out some kind of agreement on the Double D moniker today.
Maybe.
I'm going to say I don't know what Denmark has to bring to the table in this negotiation right here.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I was not franchise tagged 3 times by the hometown NFL team, but we'll start there. I did not knock Robert Ferguson into next week. Any of those things. So, anyway, Double D about 15 minutes away.
I feel like if Dylan was serious about that competition, he'd be wearing a 20 jersey today, right? And say that you have to buy it off my back. You know, something.
Right, you want that number?
Right.
You got to earn it.
Our last producer, who shall remain nameless, E.T., liked to challenge every athlete, former athletes in particular, to athletic endeavors, and would film them then on occasion.
Yes, he would.
Got beat by Lavernius Coles in street shoes in
the
a
parking
race. So
where was this at?
I don't know. Outside,
wherever
he
was hanging out.
Whatever circles ET was hanging in that day. It was outside a restaurant here in Jacksonville, but Lavernius Coles was dressed up in a nice like sport coat or whatever, and dress clothes, and ET, you don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. Started like didn't Lavernius Coles run like a 4.2 at the combine?
Stupid.
I mean, like an absurd
40,
40, and ET's like, "I got you, man." No, you don't. But we applaud the effort nonetheless. Maybe what do you think? Some kind of Oklahoma drill to settle who gets the Double D?
That sounds fair.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a great one, by the way, Dylan, for putting others in the path of danger. Right?
Okay.
Not going to be me.
So you like to egg it on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I like to egg it on and then kind of just slink back into the shadows and watch the carnage unfold. All right. Let's see. Let's go to this one, Tony. Since we mentioned the quarterback rankings by tiers over at CBS, Will Brinson, longtime NFL writer. At times, I think like Pete Prisco, Will Brinson have been their top 2 guys there. They've had some other ones come in. I don't know how, what their hierarchy is in their mind, but Will Brinson's a long established. He's not, a Johnny-come-lately on the NFL front, and put the quarterback. And within the tiers, you can read the order he lists them, and you can pretty much figure out the entire list of quarterbacks and how he ranks them, but puts Mahomes, Burrow, and Josh Allen as the only guys in tier 1 in the NFL, and I don't think that's unfair. They got a little bit longer track record. Now, you can argue, like, why is Lamar Jackson not in there? He won an MVP, right? But he also has had injury issues. I don't know how much that factors into it and things like that. But tier 2, which is could join tier 1 by this time next year, Herbert, Jackson, Lawrence, and Hurts. And again, I'm presuming he's listing them basically in the order that he sees them. And again, Trevor Lawrence getting some top 6 recognition after we saw Chad Ryder yesterday at NFL.com rank him as the 6th player off the board if all the teams were doing a win now draft at the moment to build a team to win right now.
Yeah.
And had him there. That list had him ahead of Herbert and Jackson, but behind Aaron Rodgers. This one has him ahead of Jalen Hurts, which is pretty interesting. As you said, people are going to get mad at this tier. Just watch. But consider the quality of quarterbacks above. These guys aren't lacking talent or even success. These are elite players we're talking about here. But a little something is missing, whether it's a full resume, longevity, health, etc. For Jackson, the pedigree is there as a former MVP. Being locked in long-term helps, as does the addition of Todd Monken as Ravens OC. Injuries are a fair complaint here the last 2 seasons. It wouldn't shock me to see a monster year from Lamar and a quick move up. Herbert on the Chiefs probably gets him in the tier above, but the Chargers have a loaded roster and still can't get over the hump. Well, that's presuming. So is that Herbert then, or is that Andy Reid that you're suggesting is going to bump him up over the hump. Lawrence and Hurts each have just 1 year, haven't taken big leaps forward. Hurts has a loaded roster around him. Lawrence is a pretty choice division to carve apart in the immediate future. I don't – just because you have a division to carve apart doesn't mean if you're not capable of carving it apart, you know what, that you're going to get ranked in that kind of range. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would think if Kirk Cousins was the Jaguars quarterback, you'd like, oh, Kirk Cousins probably carved this division up this year because he's clearly the most established, successful quarterback of the bunch, depending on how you measure that. And, he's significantly, he's like in tier 4, a guy you can win with. So, again, it just, reinforces what we've seen happening, that the national media is, I think, almost erring on the side of not being too late in anointing Trevor Lawrence a potentially elite player. I have a hard time saying he's an elite player yet in the National Football League.
Well, it wouldn't be surprising if most people basically only saw, maybe saw the end of the Baltimore game, right? Maybe saw the end of the Dallas game. Maybe saw the interception that he threw in London against Denver, right? Everyone was probably watching that from a national media perspective because it was the only game that was on at that time. But I don't think they were watching whole Jaguars games until Week 18 when they had the win against Tennessee, the playoff game, which is big, right? Like, that's the thing I think that people are holding on to is they won that game how? Right? Like, that is nuts that Trevor Lawrence in his first playoff game would play the way that it played out in the first half and then the way that it did in the second half and went toe-to-toe with Kansas City in the divisional round of the play. Like, that's the image they have of Trevor Lawrence. They didn't have the whole season where they were watching it week to week.
And while I agree with you, like, they weren't watching it in full, I do think the comebacks against the Ravens and the Raiders and
they
the
know
Cowboys,
what happened.
It started to build a buzz. Like, wait, they did what again? They were in what position? And, a couple of them, you're like, okay, but they're down big. They pulled this one out against the Raiders, whatever. Oh, they shocking last play. They go for 2 and beat the Ravens. And I think the Dallas game probably opened a lot of eyes. And you're right, by the time the Tennessee game rolled around, that was one of the must-see games in the National Football League.
And those kind of things happening do a lot to confirm whatever your thoughts were on Trevor Lawrence when he was going into the draft, right? Like, this guy's going to go wherever he goes at some point, he's going to win, right? Like, this guy is going to be an elite player in this league at some point in his career, and that they saw it bloom the way it did at the second half of last season and all the comeback wins, the way that it happened against Tennessee, the way that it happened against the Chargers, and playing the way they did against Kansas City. The defense was the problem in that game, more so than the offense was the problem for the Jags that day. Going up against the Chiefs, you see all those things, and it confirms whatever your thoughts were on what Trevor Lawrence was going to be, right? So you have this idea in your head, at some point he's going to join the top-tier quarterbacks in the league. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Oh, he did what? Yeah, he's in that group, right? It does feel like that's part of what's happening with Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think that's undeserved, right? And I think that he can play himself again. I think that he can play himself this year, depending on how much success the team has, and I think there is no limit to how successful they could be this year.
I agree.
Right? Like, and if they
you got to do it.
Right. If they get close to that kind of thing, then next year when you're putting these kind of lists together, Trevor Lawrence might be 2.
Right. If Trevor, it may only take beating one of those 3 guys in the postseason.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're likely going to run into at least one of those guys. You're probably going to have to beat multiple of those teams to get where you want to go ultimately. So you go out and beat Buffalo in the playoffs, for instance, even if you lose to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
If you've got the attendant stats that go with it, that may be enough to elevate him
for sure
for that kind of profile. All right, Double D, the original Double D, is in the room here. Hopefully has been listening to some of our ideas for. Is he looking a little bit? Have you watched Secret Invasion?
Yeah. I haven't watched this week's episode yet.
Put a scar across Donovan's left eye right now.
Little bit.
And he's got a little bit of a Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury going on at the moment with that beard, man. I honestly think so. We got to get an eye patch up in here, and we'll recast this show in a hurry. All right, Donovan Darius joins us in studio. Coming up next, you're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
2 hours spent on two things, your Jags and the rest of the NFL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Reflecting the passion of Jags fans. This is 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to one commercial today, listen to this one.
Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are doing it again, recognizing the local heroes in our community with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Nominate a law enforcement officer, firefighter, EMT, nurse, teacher, veteran, or your local WOW hero. Head to localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
Cold beer and good grub. That's what you'll get at Taps on 210. Just a great neighborhood feel where friends and family get together. Check out Taps in the Winn-Dixie Plaza, just west of 95 on County Road 210, proudly supporting our 9 After 5 weekly. Head there for a cold one.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
The moves.
This man right here does whatever it takes.
The rumors and speculation.
There's something good going on around here.
Follow the off-season with Tire Outlet and 1010XL.
Why can't it be us?
Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices, premium service.
Hey, Jags fans. After another successful year, it's time to get your prowl on. We want you at the bank this season for all 9 of our home games. Come see your Jaguars in every big matchup in 2023 by securing your Prowl Pass now. To lock in your seats, visit Jaguars.com/prowl or call 904-633-2000. But you better hurry. Prowl Passes are limited and selling fast. Don't miss out on all the action. And remember, it was always the Jags.
For the past 5 years in Jacksonville, J-Dog Junk Removal has been on a mission to put veterans back to work. They have successfully helped over 40 veterans find meaningful employment, and they're not stopping there. Their goal is to reach an astounding 75 veterans employed by the year 2025, all in our local community. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, how does a diamond or a piece of jewelry have its price authenticated by an independent appraisal?
David, simply put, there's a difference between a selling price and an appraisal value. In the estate and auction business, you almost always see a new replacement price put on an old used piece. But when you have a new piece with a higher replacement price, you have to wonder why somebody would sell you something for a lot less than it's worth. Unless maybe it's not worth what they said. Let me tell you a story about what happened at Underwoods the other day. We were putting into stock a 1-carat diamond that had an EGL report on it. When we opened the report, we found a separate appraisal for the diamond by Universal Gemological Services. They appraised the diamond for $7,230, which we found interesting because the diamond was in our stock at $5,100. I can honestly say that the diamond would never sell anywhere for $7,230. So that type of appraisal is worthless.
That's Underwoods, where they make it a point to know the truth about diamonds in San Marco, Avondale, the shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher, and we grind and make sausage in-house every day.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
On 1010XL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Donovan Darius coming in, perpetually ready to hit somebody coming over the middle. So be careful when you're in Donovan's immediate vicinity. What's up, Double D? How are you?
What's going on, gentlemen? All is well.
Well, we've got the new, Double D Jr. in here. That's one of the things we've got going on. Somebody suggested on the text line we go to one of those rap name generators. Oh, we're going to have fun with this later because, they're absolutely absurd. But we had suggested, Donovan, if Dylan Denmark wants to use the Double D moniker, maybe an Oklahoma drill would set things off. So I mentioned it. Donovan goes, I remember an Oklahoma drill. Didn't go well. I'm like, oh, really? He goes, oh, no. For the other guy.
Yeah, for the other guy. Yeah.
So tell us what happened here.
So this is what happened. I was at Syracuse. It was my third year. We were about to start spring practice, so we always started off with the Oklahoma drill. And so I was going to be the starting safety that year. Here was my time to shine. And so I was lining up first and going against our number one fullback, and I think his name was Terry Morris. And we lined up for the Oklahoma drill, and I was like, you know what, this is my time to kind of get things started. Man, they hiked the ball, handed it to him. He ran to his left, my right. I came down, set my feet, do exactly what I teach people when they tackle. And I hit this joker so hard, man. He knocked him flat on his back. His arms went stiff.
Oh, no.
He was knocked out.
Like the fencing response.
Well, yeah, exactly,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was knocked unconscious, and then so they were like, in college, they always say, move the drill, move the drill, move the drill. They don't they tend to you, but then you move it. So we moved the drill 10 yards, to the left, and then I went again, and then another fullback was like, man, let me go against Double D. Let me go against him. Like, I'm saying, watch this. All right. I'm like, you have no idea what you're about to do because you don't understand what this means to me today. And so we lined up again, came down, same side, bam, hit him. Another one knocked unconscious. So from that point forward, they said no more Oklahoma drill at Syracuse. They banned it. They lost even before it came out, in college, you couldn't do it. So, but that just set my season off. That started me off, But they had no idea. This was my opportunity to shine. I'm about to set off. I'm about to start this year, and I'm about to get it stared with a bang. No pun intended.
You got the drill outlawed.
It reminds me of two things. Okay, one, last night. Photographer, a video camera operator at the Yankee game gets hit in the head with a throw, right? That went over the first baseman's head. They had him on the ground for 17 minutes. At Syracuse, they're like, step over the body. Step over the body. We're going on to the next drill. And then Mike Sims Walker told me a story once. We were just kind of reminiscing. He grew up in Florida, played high school football here, and I think it was the Florida-Georgia All-Star game. And Ernie Sims was knocking somebody out every day in practice to where they're like, hey, kid, you can't practice. No more. You can't. We got you. You're good. So Double D was leaving carnage in his wake back in the day.
Yes, I don't think the new Double D want to do it that way. We might have to do rock, paper, scissors for you.
Yeah, I'll pass on the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah, no, there's only one Double D in this vicinity.
Yeah, I weigh about $150. I'll pass on that.
Yeah, all right. The rock, paper, scissors might be a little too much for him, though. So, most recent camp, over 300 kids?
Yeah, it
local
was
area
great, man. I
youth?
want to say thank you to all the listeners out there, everybody who participated and helped sponsoring kids. So in June, in 2 weeks' time at 6 different locations, we hosted over 370 something kids for my youth tackling technique camps, where I got a chance to work with them on stance, start. I mean, everything, form. You name it, safety, everything, and so that was great, and I'm just grateful for everybody that participated, all the parents, all the kids, even individuals like yourself that just heard and say, hey, I want to sponsor a kid, because we never turn any kid away.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It really is. And you got a big one coming up, right? 3-day camp coming up later on this month.
So typically, usually what I would do annually is I would do like a 3-day preseason last chance camp. And this camp will focus on offense and defense on one day. Another day is skills, speed and agility. And then the last day will be tackling and football games. So they're getting everything for the whole year right before they start training camp. And the purpose of this is just like I used to do when I used to train for Jaguars, is that during that month of July, I will make sure I get acclimated to everything that I needed to right before the season, the preseason start and everything. And as they say, everything is live.
Let me ask you this. It's dawned on me, right? Like, you do these tackling camps, and I think it's good because, especially youth football, you don't know where you're going to end up playing, right? They're going to move you around. But let's say you're like, I'm a running back, I'm a receiver, this is what I am. Is there a benefit from going through like a tackling drill thing from the offensive standpoint to go, this is what a guy is going to try to do to break you down, and here's how you counter that?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I think, again, these tackling drills and what we do and the progression way we do it helps you not even just as a defensive player, but can also help you as an offensive guy, especially a guy that's blocking. So you think about it. When tackling, we're stepping to contact, and then we're hitting on a rise, hitting on a run. And that just means that we're setting our feet, we're using our hands, and we're exploding to the guy. Now, with tackling, you're actually, double uppercutting and wrapping around, his body, taking him down. But if you're a blocker, you're setting your feet and you're shooting your hands and driving him back. So there's a lot of similarity and a lot of, there's a lot of a comparison between the both. So understanding how do you make contact, it'll help you get better. But then also, like you mentioned, what the opponent and defender is trying to do to you. Like, for example, I'll give you a quick thing. One of the biggest things with tackling is when you come down, you're within 4 yards. We call it the contact zone. You want to stay square. You don't want to turn your shoulders. If you turn your shoulders, now that athlete can cut back and he can go different ways. But if you stay square within that period of time, within 5 yards, you're able to shuffle your feet, go lateral coming downhill. So if he does keep going, you just take another couple steps and then tackle him. If he does cut back, you're still square and you're able to redirect. You're able to redirect faster without having to turn your shoulders back. So teaching kids that's one of the most challenging things that not only youth football, but high school, even in the NFL. If somebody gets cut back, they either overran the play or they got turned and their shoulders got turned, and the receiver or the running back just basically put their foot in the ground and cut back on them.
Donovan, we've talked to you about these kind of things a lot over the years, right? Especially your post-playing career. You were doing it when you were playing, but your post-playing career, you've done so much of this in the community. These kind of camps, it's important to you. And look, we've said it before too. Like, for the kids, they get to be around an NFL player, learning these kind of things, and that's something they'll have forever, right? Is the opportunity to be around that. For you, what are you still getting out of putting on these camps that you've been doing now for, 20 years, something like that?
Yeah, there's a passage that says, if you lack the vision, the people will perish. People without a vision will perish. So before I even came back to Jacksonville, I wrote down exactly what it was I wanted to do in terms of kind of a purpose-driven life, kind of a journey, a life vision. And it was to come back to Jacksonville and impact the husbands, the wives, the children, sports and all things. And so I try to create what it was that I was going to be doing, who I was going to impact, and how. So when it came down to kids, boys and girls, and athletes, I said I wanted to create these camps, and I wanted to create programs that can work with them and helping them develop their technical skills, tactical skills, agility, speed, strength, and conditioning. So because I understand that sports at this time is very big for kids, and one of the most influential people in people's lives are coaches because they're always around you, they're always talking to you. Now, what they're saying and how they say it really matters. So I feel like if I can take advantage of coming back using my exercise science degree and my time in the league and all that stuff and put together and create programs that can help these kids fundamentally, then that'll be great. It'll not only give me time with the kids and help them develop their skills from a safety and performance, but it also allows me to give me an ear to them from a character standpoint, life skills, speaking into their life. So, and that's why I do it. This is the platform that I chose to help this generation, this next generation come up athletically and then also from a life standpoint.
Donovan Darius here with us. Needs no introduction, but some call him Double D, just so you know who we're talking about. Who was the toughest guy for you to tackle?
Oh, man. So we had a great league, and I think that's why they brought me here. Some of my two toughest guys was always Eddie George and Jerome Bettis. 6'3", 240 Eddie George and Jerome Bettis, everywhere about 6'1", 6'2", 250, 260. Jerome Bettis always possessed a challenge, provided a challenge because he was really big, but he had a small man's footwork. Like he was really fast. He was, he was agile. He knew how to control his body. He wasn't just a big, just come downhill. Eddie George, because he was like a Goliath. He was a gladiator. Mm-hmm. He had everything. He was strong. Everything about him, probably 5% body fat. All pure muscle, and he was fast, strong. Derrick Henry does a great job with the stiff arm, but Eddie George was one of the first guys that I went against that tried to utilize that stiff arm as well. So he was one of the best ones. But I will tell you my first introduction and best running back I ever went against was Terrell Davis. We played against Denver my first year up there, and he was that slasher guy. Yeah, he was about, 5'10", 210, 215 pounds. Mm-hmm. But he used to, they used to run a lot of zone blocking, run to the left. They used to give him the ball, and he used to come downhill, and he can cut back. And he was fast. He didn't have to stutter his feet. He was smooth. He was strong. He was short enough, but he was strong enough and fast enough. And so he was probably my first introduction really to, top-level running backs when I got in the league in 98.
He's a slasher, but he's a bigger guy, too. I would have thought, man, and I get the whole physics of it, Tony. You got Jerome Bettis, a guy like that, Eddie George, but what do you do? Are you better off just like with a guy like Barry Sanders or Fred? Now, Fred was different because Fred was built like almost a Jerome Bettis big, but he had those moves. Are you just better like taking your medicine and just taking your shot? You know what I mean? Because I feel like Double D guys would sit back and then you're toast, man, right? You're on his terms. Like, do you just got to shoot the gap and try to get that outside leg before he can make you look silly?
You do. I remember we played Barry in his last year, 98, when they played him here. Matter of fact, and our coaches would say, our defense coordinator said, you guys come downhill and just, like you said, take your shot and stay there because he's probably going to come back. And so it was one of the things that he has so many nifty moves and everything, and he can stop on a dime, and he can jump cut, he can accelerate. He did all those things that you had to take your angles to the ball, and then basically you had to be patient. If you wasn't when I say patient, doesn't mean you stop. It just means that you continue to keep coming to your leverage side, understanding he may wind up cutting back. And if he does cut back, you're right there. If he doesn't cut back, you just continue to the ball. And so it was a funny thing. When we did play them that year, I think it was October, it was reported that the Jaguars did not cut their field. Usually they cut the field to make it really fast. Well, in that game, they did not really cut the field to cut it slow enough just to try to slow him down.
Yeah, TC's in control, buddy.
You water the infield when Ricky Henderson's on the other team.
Whatever advantage we can provide ourselves. I know we talk, obviously, through the offseason a lot about expectations for the upcoming season, for the team, for players, that kind of thing. Josh Allen's been talked about a bunch, right? Going into fifth year, all this kind of stuff, what's going to happen with him going forward, right? For a guy like Josh Allen, how explicitly or directly are the expectations on players that are going into that kind of year felt by the locker room, right? So a guy like Josh Allen has those expectations last year under contract. We know Evan Ingram's going to be the same thing whenever he gets in. Calvin Ridley's just joining the team. But these guys who know it's a career, like, make it or break it kind of year with the team, how much is the locker room aware of the pressure that is on those players in a given season?
From a locker room standpoint, it's really not. That's not really something they think about.
Okay.
They're not thinking about how many more years you got because you're thinking about just this 1 year as a team. Everybody has their own negotiational things that with their contract. So, but it does factor very much with the player. I remember my first contract was a 5-year deal. And so after year 4, I was talking to Coach Coughlin or Paul Vance, who was the guy in charge of the contracts, and trying to say, hey, man, I would love to stay here. Let's try to get something done earlier. And then their thought was, their readback to me was, Donovan, we don't have that much money or the contract or their salary cap. And so, again, going into my 5th year, I did the same thing. Talked to Wayne Weaver, Coach Coughlin, and they were telling me, hey, we really want you back, this, that, and the other. And so it was just they had to figure out some type of way. Well, what happens in the league a lot of times is that it doesn't matter what's happening from a team standpoint about one individual person because they can't control beyond their own selves. But from that player standpoint, a lot of times that weighs heavy. That does weigh heavy on your mind. And so for me, again, I was franchise tagged those last 3 years. So each year it weighed heavy. What's going to happen in this year? What, is the team going to turn around and sign me for a long-term contract? So it's one of the things you can't control. Only thing you control is what you do.
All right. You got time to stick around for a few more minutes?
Sure,
I don't want to rush out. I know you got some other stuff to do. Donovan, you'll be hearing his promo for his camp coming up here on 1010XL in the immediate future, but want to get your thoughts on some final finishing touches that some players will be putting on and to prepare themselves for training camp when we come back in a minute. Double D, the one and only, here with us. You want to get in with Donovan, 641-1010. By the way, shout out to DJ Delphonic on Twitter who hit us up on the text line very quickly. Donovan, I don't know if you've seen this one, but check this out. I don't know if you what do you think about that right there? Eye patch. Double D, right? That's pretty quick right there, right?
Yeah, let me
That's
send me that.
Samuel L. I already tweeted it out, so I'll absolutely send it to you, though.
Does he have a beard?
He's got a beard, pretty much the same shaped beard as you, as a matter of fact. Yeah,
man.
so, there you go. Check it out at
That actually was
MD_1010XL.
the most famous person I ever met before on the sideline.
Is that right?
Yes, Samuel Jackson. We had a game against Green Bay, one preseason game, and he was on the sideline. I got the picture and everything. We just talking the way he just looking at me like, really, wow. You know what I mean? So that was a good moment.
Look, I know you haven't watched. It's not a spoiler, Tony, but I had to laugh last night when Nick Fury goes, I'm not really into golf. I'm like, man, Samuel L. Jackson is never without a golf club in his hand.
Right.
I had to think that the writers enjoyed putting that line in there. So we've got our own little Donovan Darius invasion going on this morning. We'll continue to discuss Jaguar football with Double D, so stick around. Another hour to go. Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Sweltering weather, the dog days of summer at the office, and no Jaguars on-field action for 6 whole weeks. So let us help you beat the summer heat with The Scoop. New episodes every Wednesday all summer long on the 1010XL social channels and wherever you get your podcasts.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathan.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS PRP Platelet-Rich Plasma. PRP, using your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and to find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. And that's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Introducing an exciting update from DuckDuck We're thrilled to expand our services with the launch of DuckDuck Air Conditioning. As a fully licensed mechanical contractor, our skilled team is equipped to handle any air conditioning and refrigeration project you have in mind. Contact DuckDuck Air Conditioning today at 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769. Or visit us online at duckduckac.com. DuckDuck Air Conditioning, your reliable partner in air conditioning and refrigeration services.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular movement is key to so many health benefits. Aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. Decide to only take the stairs if you're walking less than 6th floor. Never park in the first 10 spaces of the parking lot. Walk during your work breaks. Get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and take a short, brisk walk before the chaos of the day starts. There are so many easy ways to stay active. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
I'm Sam Nelson with your 1010XL local sports update. Former Florida quarterback Jalen Kitna will be charged with 2 counts of breach of peace in connection to his arrest last November for child pornography. The plea deal reached Wednesday drops 5 felony pornography charges. Florida State is working on filling out its 2024 class this summer, and the coaching staff have an eye on 2 local prospects. The Seminoles have reached out to 4-star running back Makai Denzi and 3-star safety Ashton Hampton. They plan to make their college decision on July 15th. The Jumbo Shrimp continue on the road, taking on the Charlotte Knights. The Jumbo Shrimp have won 2 in a row. The series continues this evening in Charlotte at 7:05. Damian Lillard watch continues for the Miami Heat. Lillard, after requesting a trade from Portland, listed Miami as his first choice. There will need to be a third team involved in order to properly compensate Portland for the All-Star guard. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson for 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
At 11:02, it's 88 degrees. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Double D sticking around with us here for a few more minutes. If they're waiting for him down in production, Tony, I'd tell them to be careful. It may not go well for you.
The Oklahoma drill. We heard
try
how
to
that
hurry
went.
up
Yeah.
Donovan Darius. It may not go well for you. Double D, man, I've enjoyed the offseason. We always want football to get here, but at the same time, it'll be here when it gets here, right? But we're just a couple weeks away now from these guys being out there. Expectations are there. They were there in 2018 as well, but now you feel like there's no smoke and mirrors with the quarterback play, right? You've got the legit guys. So there's a big raised set of expectations for this team coming in. So as you're coming down the stretch here for these modern-day players, are they trying to put football out of their mind? Is that the last thing? Are they working out every day? Like, where are they in their final stages of preparation, do you think?
Now I know everybody trains the offseason a little bit different. That's why each team has their own set of mini camps that they do, OTAs, whatever. But one of my things that I was huge on is breaking the offseason down into different segments. And so this would be basically the third segment. Your first segment is after your season is done. You take about a month off, month and a half off for some. And then that was the first part. The second was when you start getting to OTAs. And then the third one really started for me basically in July. And that third part of it is now all about getting acclimated to get ready to go in to peak to a degree when you go into training camp. So that means now you're out there basically almost 4 days a week. You're getting acclimated to the sun, to the heat, but you're also doing all those things. The things that I'm talking about doing in my tackling, in my training camp, football camps that I'm doing at the end of the month here, that's what we would be doing. So it was guys, Alvis Whittick, Kevin Hardy, Cardinal Lake, Stacey Mack. I mean, we had a bunch of guys that used to come out with me, and we used to work out every single 4 days a week on our technical drills, our agility, conditioning, speed, strength, everything, so that way we're in the top shape that we can be by the time training camp starts.
How far into training camp do you get before you know you're not at 100%? Like how long does that actually take?
Well, it depends. Everybody experiences getting sore. So you know that that's going to happen. When you put the pads on, you start hitting. That's something you didn't have. So everybody. So after first week, everybody should be in some way, sore, some point. But what you do is you still, if you don't take that time when you get in pads to now continue to create the acclimation and getting yourself better in shape, then you're going to feel it week 3, week 4. And so the point is everybody comes in as ready as they think they can be, but then you still got to keep getting better. You still got to keep working out. I used to do extra gashers after practices when we used to do 2-a-days just to get my body, accustomed to what we're doing. But then we're week 3, week 4, you can cut back a little bit on that because now you're more about, what's happening just on the field within the plays.
So today we're talking about Doug Pederson and what he brings to the table as a head coach. And, Lauren Brooks got this conversation rolling yesterday on the Franchise Show and thought it was very interesting kind of perspective. He's a very good play caller, right? He can build a good team culture. He's a, leader of men. He's a player, former player. I'm sure that helps, with his credibility. He's developed players. I mean, forget Trevor Lawrence, Tony. Carson Wentz. Once he escaped Doug Pederson's clutches, kind of went downhill for Carson Wentz, and he had to play at an MVP level. What is the number one, from your perspective, what is the number one strength of Doug Pederson as a head coach?
When I think about Doug Pederson over the past couple of years and, in terms of the years and what he had to deal with, I just think that his message, he's very consistent. And the consistency of his message, whether you're doing good or you're doing bad, that is huge, because as a player, you don't want one coach saying one thing one day and then turn around and say it the other day. You don't want to be up 10 points, 20 points, and your coach is really up high, but then as soon as you go down 20 points, he's super duper low. You want him to maintain that consistency. Granted, you can coach it with passion. You can raise your voice, you can demand higher expectations, but I think more than anything, you have to be consistent at the end of the day, because this is a league of men. And these men, at the end of the day, as a player, you may be here longer than that coach. So for a coach to understand the psychological component of being a coach, how do I deal with high-profile athletes? How do I help motivate them, get them on the same page. We used to have a coach that called esprit de corps, which is everybody on the same time, always together moving forward. So as a coach, especially a head coach, you have to try to master those skills. It's not about what you did as a player. Sure, that definitely helps him because he was a quarterback, but it's about mastering, the movement of men, the minds of men to get them to attain the highest level to move forward to accomplish your goals.
What was your favorite kind of attitude from your head coach, right? You played for who you played for at Syracuse. You get here to Jacksonville. Now you're dealing with Coughlin. Now Coughlin has that. He's the same every day, right? Like, you know what you're going to get from TC, and that was throughout his entire football coaching career. Del Rio was a different kind of animal, right? More a player's coach when he got hired here after TC was gone. What was your preference, like, just from a style from your head coach?
Well, I was used to, from coming from Syracuse University, we had a coach by the name of Paul Pasqualoni, who I think he's about 74 years old, still coaching in the league, defensive ends or linebackers or something. But he had that same type of dictatorship, authoritarian style. And so you got a chance to learn that. He would holler, he would get in your face, he would spit, when he talks, all that stuff. But you knew what you can expect, from him. He did it because he loved greatly. He loved what he did. He had a passion for his players. He had a passion for what he was doing. He had a passion for winning and helping the program. Coming here, I was kind of acclimated to that type of coaching. So I didn't come from a players type coach to somebody who was just in your ear and just really demanding so many things. So I was able to adjust to that very, very quickly. As you mentioned, Jack Del Rio was a little different because as a player coach, he would allow the players to lead versus just his voice. And I think having those two different styles, is great for people to appreciate. I respect both of them for what they both gave because at the end of the day, they can't go on the field and make the play. I do, but they put you in position to do it. And so I appreciate both of their styles.
Do you have to be a little bit more of a player's coach, in today's game? Just, players have taken more agency and, forcing their way out of a situation they don't want to be in, and they've had success doing it, not as much as NBA players have, but it's going in that direction. Do you have to be, do you think, in today's game more accommodating to kind of the emotional and psychological whims of these players?
I think you do. You put the hit on the nail, but it is exactly that. You can't just come in as an authoritarian because these guys will block you out. Now, granted, a person will say, wait a minute, why would they block you out? And their job is on the line. And that's their reputation. Well, they do. People that make a lot of money can oftentimes be very sensitive as well. You think about what Deion Sanders said about him going to Colorado, and they was asking him, hey, Deion, do you ever have aspirations about coaching the league? He said, I couldn't do it because I want too much control.
Yeah.
And he has his hands in so many things. Well, that's kind of how Coughlin was. He was a head coach, general manager, offense coordinator. He had his hands on everything. And so the way he dealt with players was he say what he needs to say and do what he wants to do, and you just had to mend to that. This is a different league now, these different players, like you mentioned, not only with the money, but with the mindset, the attitudes, and everything, because we always knew this. I may be around here longer than you will, and so you wouldn't think or hope that a player would tank or do this than the other, but they can also shut you out. If you're out there and you have teenagers, you know exactly what that's like. They can turn you off and they can shut you out and they can do what they want to do, and there's nothing that sometimes you can do about it.
We had the chance to talk to Jimmy Smith yesterday on the show, and here in the last couple of weeks, the Hall of Fame conversation for Fred Taylor has been heating up again, right? D-Rock had his story that was out last week where he sat down with Fred and some players from his time, coaches, some of the Hall of Fame voters, those different kind of things. As a former teammate of Fred's, you got to see it up close and personal. We talked to Jimmy. I think Jimmy deserves way more consideration than he's getting at this point for the Hall of Fame, but Fred is in that conversation year to year right now. What are your thoughts on Fred Taylor's Hall of Fame candidacy?
Oh, man, I had posted – I was looking at my Facebook yesterday, and I posted a year ago to yesterday a highlight video of Fred that was out there somewhere, and I was like, listen, man, this is one of my greatest teammates I've ever had. We came in together, and hopefully he'd be one of the next inductees into the Hall of Fame. Fred Taylor did some amazing things. You got to think about it, too. Even just from not only just from the yards and the touchdown, but just as a player and just to see what he went through. He came in, he had his mindset on helping his team, putting the team and the city on his back, and then he had some injuries. And how fast fans and, the culture of football can turn against you for things you can't control. But he not only took that, he endured that, but he went on to continue to be consistent, to be effective. He was one of the fastest dudes and the quickest guys. He was big, 225, 230, but he can run as if he was just like a speedy wide receiver. I remember him running against from those Miami Dolphin defenders. I mean, he made on certain plays, especially in the AFC in that championship game we had here, he made like 6 people miss. He made 2 guys miss twice. I mean, he was that type of guy. His vision, his stopping, his start and stop ability, his jump cut, his acceleration. I mean, he was amazing. I mean, I went against him at the Senior Bowl when we was up there, and I remember I tackled him one time, but I was like, years later, I was like, man, I never faced a greater running back than I think I had with you, and I'm glad that you're my teammate.
All right, Double D. If I don't get you down to production, I'm the one who's going to have to do the Oklahoma drill. So one more time before you get out of here, tell us about the camp you got coming up.
Yes, sir.
Later
So
this
at the end of this July, on July 24th, 25th, 26th, I'm hosting a 3-day skills, drills, and conditioning football camp for youth ages 6 to 14. The components is day 1, we're working on our speed and agility and conditioning drills. Day 2, offense and defensive skills, position specific. And then day 3, we're going to work on our tackling and blocking along with football games. And so all that's going to be held in North Jacksonville. North Jackson Sports Complex. They can get all the information on the website, DariusNextLevelTraining.com. You could just sign up there as well. And then also, I'm fortunate the last month we had all of our camps, we had a lot of people sponsor kids. We're on the north side of Jacksonville. This is not the Pontic Regions, it's not the St. Johns County. So we rely on people like yourself listening and small businesses to help sponsor these kids. The camp for 3 days is only $99 for 3 whole days for them to come. If you like to sponsor a kid, 1 kid, 2 kids, go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com. Sponsor kid. I want to give a quick shout out to Miss Laura Lynn Marshall. She did it while we were on the show. She sponsored 2 kids.
Nice.
So I just want to say you can be involved by getting your kids signed up, or you can be involved in saying, you know what, we want to leave no child behind, and we're going to sign them up to get them a part of it. Here's the thing: we would not turn any kid away. So again, you helping the kid come will greatly benefit not only them, not only on the field, but what we're going to do and teach with them as far as off the field and life skills as well.
Always appreciate your passion, and not only for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the youth of Duval County and beyond, man. Always a pleasure to see you, Double D.
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
We'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
All right, gentlemen. Y'all have a great rest of the show.
All right, Nick. See you there. Nick Fury, good. Check him out on my Twitter, at @MD_1010XL. That's courtesy of DJ Delphonic, giving us a little side-by-side comparison between Samuel L. and Double D. We'll come back. Tony will take you around the National Football League. We'll tell you who NFL.com thinks the Jaguars' leading candidate to be the MVP, who's not named Trevor Lawrence, is for this team, and more to do on Jaguars Today, straight ahead on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go. From the west side to the beaches.
There's a place off Ocean Avenue.
1010XL,
There's a place on the corner of Cherry Street.
your hometown station.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Your AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
I'm Matt Hayes. If you have trouble sleeping because of neck, back, or hip pain, check out my show with Dr. Mitchell Yost, Pain-Free Living, Sunday mornings at 10, here on 1010XL.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. There's plenty of reasons maybe you're convincing yourself it's not time to sell your home. Maybe you're worried about settling for less money with a lowball instant offer. Chad and Sandy take care of that. Chad and Sandy at chadandsandy.com guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price at the deadline, or they will buy it. So no required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. So whatever promise or problem you think you have, they have a promise and a solution. In fact, just ask Larry and Luz out in Cunningham Creek. We were tired of being landlords on a rental property. We wanted to cash out, travel, put more money toward retirement. I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio, and we are very glad we did. We got an amazing offer in 11 days, more money than we expected. Call the only agents we're trusting and recommending to sell your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee to sell your home, or they will buy it. Call 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. They were fantastic in setting up my car loan. I've never had a bad experience, and I've banked with them for years. I trust First Florida Credit Union. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the New Durban location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes, just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of, it's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
In your free time, the last thing you want to do is clean your house.
Right.
First Coast Home Pros offers luxurious maid services you can trust. Weekly, bi-weekly, or even one-time deep house cleaning. FirstCoastHomePros.com. FirstCoastHomePros.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, thanks again to Donovan Darius for stopping by. Another big hitter coming in tomorrow. Tom McManus, of course, with us every Friday. Love to get Donovan and Tom together on the few occasions that we've been able to do, but don't miss that tomorrow from 10 to noon. Top MVP candidate for every AFC team. There's a piece put up yesterday evening at NFL.com. Tony, I know we discussed this before the show. Eric Edholm, he's a draft writer for the site, but whatever. You know, it's that summer content. Mm-hmm. It's no surprise who they pick for the Jaguars. This is non-quarterback edition, by the way. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is your leading team MVP candidate. He's a league MVP candidate, potentially. dark horse or otherwise. But they went with Josh Allen here. But I'll tell you what they had to say and basically who else they considered. I really did, says Ed Holm, ponder Calvin Ridley here. We might end up looking back on that trade deadline acquisition of the veteran receiver as one of the savvier moves GM Trent Baalke has pulled off recently. Maybe more than just the savviest move he's pulled off. One of the savvier moves, potentially, if, we're all gaga about Calvin Ridley hasn't played a snap for the team, but if he is a 1,200-yard guy, let's say, this year, and gives you some balance to that passing game that no matter who you roll out there, you can't really figure out who the number one is on any play. And the Jags are able to sign him, let's say, to a 4-year extension, and he plays here through, his age 32 season. I mean, it could be one of the coups of NFL front office if that's a phrase. All right? But for a team, he continues, for whose biggest questions lie in defense, Allen might be the better choice for this piece. Would the Jags be contenders without him? I don't think that's an outrageous question. They didn't really upgrade the pass rush this offseason, blah, blah, blah. Here's where he goes a little gaga over him. Allen's a better player than his 7-sack season last year might suggest. Look at his tape, and you see a top-tier edge rusher with a nearly complete all-around game. Went through some of his stats, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, including 1 for a touchdown, 22 quarterback hits, 11 tackles for loss. I'm sorry, I can't put Josh Allen as a top-tier edge rusher in the league at this point in time.
Just put another one on the list, right? Every one of these lists we look at with anyone outside of Jacksonville talking about Josh Allen, that's the conversation about Josh Allen.
Yes.
And in Jacksonville, they're watching him week to week, and they don't feel that impact week to week. I
don't.
As I said when I asked one day, a couple weeks ago when you were on vacation, I asked the question of the day basically, would you be okay? What would Josh Allen have to do for the next offseason you to be on board with them offering 4 years, $80 million? Right? Like that kind of thing. And as I said at the time, I'd offer it now. And honestly, I would. I do think Josh Allen is worth that now because I agree more with that idea. I heard this morning the drill, they were having the conversation at one point about outside of Trevor Lawrence, what player could they least afford to lose? And in my mind, it's a list of 2 guys, right?
Tyson.
It's the conversation between Tyson Campbell and Josh Allen. Is which of those guys can they less afford to lose? And I think the debate between those 2 guys is fair as to which of those guys that you think it would be. But look, I'm not saying that I don't think Josh Allen should have more than 7 sacks in a year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you look at the impact that he had for the team. You look at the impact he had hitting the opposing quarterback. He did have more of a season where you look at it and say, okay, it's more in line with a guy who's going to have an 11 or 12 sack season, right? And he is around the ball so much for this team that I agree that if it's not going to be Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen would be my pick for the team's MVP.
Yeah, I'd go Campbell. And again, it's not to argue the finer points of all that. I just think, look, if you're going to be an elite pass rusher, you got to draw a double team 90% of the time, right? I mean, you got to be, and I haven't seen him open things up for other guys consistently enough right now. Hoping that changes.
Fair,
right?
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go check out who the other candidates are for the other AFC teams if you're so inclined over at NFL.com. Right now, though, Tony's going to take you on a quick tour around the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen is ready for everyone to stop talking about wide receiver Stephon Diggs' absence on the first day of the team's mandatory minicamp in June. Allen told the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, quote, "I love him. That's my guy. The media has blown this so far out of proportion. We're in minicamp. We're not playing a game for 4 months. He doesn't show up for 1 day. He's still there. Coach asked him to go home, and they're in talks. They're trying to resolve some things. They're still talking about it. Let it go. There's no reason to continue talking about it," end quote. I haven't listened to the podcast, so I don't know what anyone in the show had to say in response to that, but I don't think it would be unfair to point out that that his head coach, Sean McDermott, said he was, quote, very concerned about Diggs' absence, right? So, yes, everyone's going to be reacting.
You're taking it out of context. It's fake news. It's like, oh, my gosh, it's what you said.
Yeah. Dan Duggan of The Athletic reported yesterday that the representation for New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones asked for $47 million per year. Jones wound up getting 4 years, $160 million. So, I don't know why that number would even be released to anyone, that they asked for $47 million. Okay, so the negotiation landed on 40. Cool, right? It's such a weird thing that it's even out there.
Well, you had to figure you always want more than what you got.
Yeah.
Right? So, but 47 does seem like a lot.
47's a lot.
I mean, 40 seems like a lot, but that's the thing. You just forget sticker shock. If you're a person who's bothered by the sticker shock of these contracts, you may as well not be a Jaguar fan because it's coming. I mean, when that Trevor Lawrence contract drops, Tony, unless he takes some kind of crazy discount, and with the cap rising the way it's expected to, he's at some point he's going to make over $60 million a year in his career, right? He's got to, with the way things are trending. What else? Anything else?
That's it.
All right, Corey Dillon. Apparently is upset about things, and as he has put it, has resurfaced. PFT did a piece. He did an interview with The Athletic. Paul Daner covers the team, the Bengals, for The Athletic, and Dillon went on about, hey, he says, man, you can quote me word for blanking word, print it, because nobody gets this blank. I want it exactly how I told you, no spins, no nothing. So don't come back and say it was taken out of context, all right? But talked about he's not in the Bengals Ring of Honor. You mentioned they just started that a few years ago. There are only like a half dozen guys in there.
Yep.
He says damn near criminal what voters are pulling off, to be honest with you. Did I not play for them? I don't know, bro. I'm just curious about that. On and on and on. So all that, whatever. That's between him, and he doesn't like the fact that the fans are the ones who vote on it. He says it's garbage. It should be, the infrastructure of the team, the owner, the president, whatever, blah, blah, blah. All right, whatever. He rushed for over 8,000 yards as a Bengal. Then he talked about his Hall of Fame candidacy, which you don't really hear Corey Dillon's name get brought up that much for the Hall of Fame. I'm sure he's probably on that semifinal list a few times, semifinalist list.
Mm-hmm.
He ran for over 11,000 yards.
Yep.
And so he is quoted in the piece, I want it all. I'm coming for it all. You know why? Because I earned it. I'm not one of these borderline guys sitting on my ass reminiscing, talking about, if I had this, shoulda, coulda, woulda. No, I'm justified, is what he says. And honestly, Fred Taylor's become a lot more vocal in the last few years. And if the end result is it gets you on the radar a little bit more, so be it.
Good, yeah.
But as the piece at Pro Football Talk pointed out, when he doesn't often get brought up Dillon's name among the better running backs of the 21st century. And some of the ones they listed were Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander, Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, Steven Jackson, Clinton Portis, Chris Johnson, Matt Forte, Priest Holmes, Jamal Lewis, and Marshawn Lynch. You can say Fred Taylor should probably be mentioned in there as well.
Yeah.
His career only played a couple of years in the 90s, whatever. But then he points out the truth is Dillon has more rushing yards than all but four of those other running backs, which is pretty impressive. So I wanted to bring up the side-by-side. Who's a better player, Fred Taylor or Corey Dillon?
Fred Taylor.
We're going to say Fred all day, right? We're going to point to that 4.6 yards per carry as being a big thing, but we also have talked about that's somewhat mitigated by the fact that he didn't always get the goal line carries,
sure,
which is going to boost that average. He averaged 4.6. Dillon, who scored 16 more rushing touchdowns than Freddie did, averaged 4.3. So that's pretty comparable, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had 82 rushing touchdowns. Fred had 66. Could Fred have had 82? Absolutely. Would that have maybe in turn lowered his yards per carry? Maybe a little bit. Corey Dillon had 7 1,000-yard seasons. Actually, the lowest he had when he went over 1,000 was 11.29. Fred Taylor had 7 1,000-yard seasons. 11.46 was the lowest that he had. Fred Taylor had 2 double-digit touchdown seasons. Corey Dillon had 5. Corey Dillon was a 4-time Pro Bowler, and I get it, popularity and all that. It's not like Cincinnati was any great shakes during the Corey Dillon era, either, for the most part. So, again, it goes to show you, in regards to Jimmy Smith, who we had on yesterday, and we'll hear what he had to say about the Hall of Fame here momentarily, but put him up against Rod Smith's numbers of the Denver Broncos, I don't think if you watched him, there's not much question. We think Jimmy's a better player. But damn, Rod Smith's numbers are pretty comparable, and he's got a couple Super Bowl rings.
Right.
And nobody mentions Rod Smith for the Hall of Fame.
No.
Jimmy was on with us yesterday and said that he believes that current team success can kind of put himself and Fred Taylor and others in that Hall of Fame limelight.
This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. When we don't win, there's very little Hall of Fame conversations about, me, Fred, and Tony. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
Obviously, for a lot of reasons right there. If you want to hear the entire conversation with Jimmy Smith, it's available on demand at 1010XL.com. Is this serious? Who was Matt Forte? Somebody asked.
Man.
Do you not literally remember, or do you don't think he belongs in that conversation, or what exactly? Matt Forte's numbers at the end of the day, not too shabby. I don't think of Matt Forte as a Hall of Famer either, by the way. Tone 5 1,000-yard seasons. Averaged 4.2 yards a carry. Big thing for him was 46.72 receiving yards. So he added to that pile. That's basically double what Fred Taylor had. For instance, again, you watch the eyeball test, Fred Taylor, much more explosive player. Matt Forte is a really good running back, though.
It's hard to, whatever the perception of these guys is, right, at this point, whether it be Fred Taylor or Corey Dillon, any of these guys that we were discussing right here, like whatever the perception of those guys is what it is in the eyes of the guys that are going to be voting for the Hall of Fame. They don't get to make the argument in the room and really force anyone to see it, right, until you become one of the 10 to 15 that are being debated, that are in the room. Everyone's got to take a look at this guy. Here's the argument why Fred Taylor is a Hall of Famer. Until you get to that point in the process, then it's going to be, here's my perception of Fred Taylor as a player, right? Like, that's what he's going to have to fight to get himself into that room. I thought it was interesting looking at all the Bengals stuff because of what Corey Dillon had to say. And as you said, only 6 players in a Ring of Honor, they call it, and it's a Ring of Honor that they didn't even start till 2 years ago. Right? And it's not like Anthony Munoz and his name and number hasn't been worthy of being on there, forever, but it's something they didn't do till a couple years ago. But I thought Ken Riley is interesting when you look at what he did. This is a Hall of Fame defensive back, retired in 1983. He made 0 Pro Bowls. He made 1 first-team All-Pro his final year in the league at the age of 36. He's 5th all-time in interceptions. Right? But he was playing for the Bengals. He had 2 years where he was second-team All-Pro. Again, never made a Pro Bowl, retired in 1983, just got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's hard, right? Like, it's hard to get the attention that maybe a lot of these players merit and deserve. I feel it for Fred. I feel it for Jimmy, because I do think you put them in the room and make them see what the argument is for this guy to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think it's a hard case to make. It's hard to get to the point where you're allowed to make the case.
The other point about Corey Dillon specifically, not forgetting he had some off-the-field issues when he got out of the league. He had a DUI that got knocked down to reckless driving, and he was charged with spousal abuse as well, but the assault charge was dropped due to lack of evidence. But his name was out there negatively, and as I recall, I never really covered Corey Dillon. Wasn't always the most media-friendly guy out there as well. And, look, whether that should work against you, not saying it should.
But he's got the 4 Pro Bowls and a Super Bowl ring, and that's going to be part of it if his candidacy is ever taken seriously.
Absolutely. All right, we'll come back and take a look at today's very hyper-serious question of the day, where we ask you, Jaguar fans, to weigh in on Doug Pederson and his biggest strength as a head coach. Is it play calling, player development, building a team culture, or is it something else entirely? We'll discuss when we return. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
First of all, congratulations on the show.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
How do you like being in a real studio?
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
It's a unique gift idea and a popular way to add fun and personality to any wedding environment. Mystic Cornhole Company builds custom, high-quality boards right here in Jax. Visit the shop on Phillips Highway or check out their designs at mysticcornhole.com.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Hayes Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Hacker here, and you know that I'm a sausage guy. So let me tell you about the Sausage Dudes sausage. The Sausage Dudes use quality pork and carefully sourced spices to make the best sausage I've ever had. They have 4 outstanding flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with cheddar and jalapeno, and my favorite, the Italian. You can pick up the Sausage Dudes sausage at Publix locations all throughout Jacksonville. So take it from me and head to Publix today to pick up the Sausage Dudes sausage.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
At Andy's Automotive and Truck Services, they know that your company's fleet is more than just a bunch of cars and trucks. It's your livelihood, your reputation, your pride. So when you need routine fleet maintenance or emergency repairs, Andy's offers after-hours and mobile service to minimize your downtime and keep your fleet running like new. While you care for your employees and customers, rest assured Andy's Automotive will take care of your fleet. Visit the team at andysats.com.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Heilman from the brand new Fourscore Golf Tavern. We do elevated food, drinks, and golf simulator fun. If you're looking for a delicious meal or maybe a spot for a client, we have lunch specials every day. Need to entertain a few people from out of town? Easy. Just reserve one of our 4 simulator bays. Lunch service starts at 11 a.m. daily. Located in San Marcos Square, we'll see you at lunch at Fourscore Golf Tavern.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We're your local family jeweler for 46 years in Jacksonville with a huge selection of diamonds, gemstones, and pre-owned Rolex watches. And Monahan Jewelers is your store for expert jewelry repair turned around in 1 or 2 days. Most jewelry stores take 2 weeks or more, and many stores send your jewelry somewhere else for repair. At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or 2. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
74.3% of those that own a home security system indicate that their security system and products make them feel safe, because security cameras give you peace of mind. Denny Thompson here. Let Tyson Sound & Security assess your home security needs and keep the bad guys out so you can have full peace of mind too. While you're at it, ask them how they can help lower your home insurance payments. Visit TysonSoundandSecurity.com. Tyson Sound & Security, security and automation experts.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, so we've kind of unofficially been searching for a new nickname or a nickname for Dylan Denmark, our new producer, for the last couple of days. Honestly, the best one is probably, and several people have mentioned it, the Marshall, or Marshall Matt Dillon, but go back to our days at the now defunct network, Tony, that we used to work at.
Yeah.
We had an intern / board op that we nicknamed the Fire Marshal because we were on remote once with Byron Leftwich. We did a autograph signing. All we did was ask Byron. We're like, hey, Byron, why don't you come on out? We'll feed you and sign some autographs for people. And Byron's like, all right. And he was the first round pick of the Jags. It was very cool. He came out. Vince Manawai came out. And Marcus Ogden was part of that class, too. Jonathan Ogden's little brother. The three of them came out. And somehow we're out at the Bogey Grill. And somehow the fire alarm goes off. Like somebody opened the fire door or something like that. And it might have been, it was either Matt or he was the one who was standing next to it. So that's how he got that name. So I don't know. In my own little headspace, I don't know if I want to confuse that. But Marshall Dillon's not the worst that I've heard.
No.
Someone suggested we go check out a rap name generator.
Yes, they did.
Or two. Which one are you on?
I am on myrapname.com.
Okay, I'm on RapChat, and there was and rapnamemaker.com. Rapnamemaker just takes your first name and the first initial of your last name, and I'm getting all these renditions of something like Little Drummer Boy Dylan D. Like what?
There you go.
Where the Little Drummer Boy part come from, right?
It's a real Christmas music fan.
You get, and then there's DD Little Drummer Boy. I like it, all these different things. Over at RapChat, I got Miss Dylan Grizzly. I don't know how you feel about that one.
Nah, I'll pass.
Not Miss Capital Dylan the Prophet. No. Superfin Dylan Ziploc.
That's a long one.
What? Oh, you think that's a long one? Tony, what did you dig up over there?
Here, at myrapname.com, the three names that it gave me, I got Papa Dylan D. Silver.
Papa Dylan D. Silver.
Yep. Scammer Double D.
Scammer Double D.
And then I think our favorite, Stylin' Dylan D. Silverface, a.k.a. Justice Pockets.
Justice Pockets.
Just call him Pockets for short.
So
JP. Justice Pockets. What in the world? Please save that. All right.
I will.
Bernie Dylan the Blessed. Where did Bernie come from in this? Let's throw a random name. Bernie Dylan the Blessed. Shooter Dylan the Outlet. What? Dr. Dylan Brooklyn. Okay. Perp Dylan Scallops with a Z on the end. Perp Dylan Scallops with a Z. Scoony Dylan Jones. Sicko Dylan Trilogy. What?
Oh, wow.
What is going on? All right, so again,
Justice Pockets is great.
Justice Pockets is my favorite. A little wordy. Give us the whole thing one more time.
Stylin' Dilly D. Silverface.
Dilly D.
Dylan D.
Oh, Dylan D. Stylin' Dylan D.
Silverface.
Silverface.
A.K.A. Justice Pockets.
Of course he's also known as Justice Pockets. What else would you be known as?
Yeah.
All right, and we appreciate it if you didn't hear yesterday. We're not, Dilly is right out the window, okay? That's probably the one we got more than anything else. Try a Dungeons & Dragons name generator. Now, we'll save that for tomorrow.
E.T. just texted me. He kind of hit one on the text line from yesterday, D squared.
D squared.
For double
yeah,
D.
It's all right. It's okay.
It's no Justice Pockets.
It's not right. It's certainly not Silly Dilly Justice Pockets Silverface or whatever that thing was. Work in progress, people. We're building towards it. All right, today's poll question. See where you come down, Tone. We asked you, what is Doug Pederson's biggest strength as a head coach? Is it play calling? Is it player development? Is it building a team culture? Is it something else? And building a team culture can encompass a lot of things if
Yeah.
you wanted to. And you could, obviously, if you go with something else, break it down more specifically. But what did you go with here?
The team culture. Like, I
Okay.
do think that is the biggest difference between what was happening 2 years ago and what happened last year, right? And I think all the other stuff feeds into it, right? It's kind of that broader category for all of it, right? Because I do think the team culture influences your play calling. I think it influences your player development, right? I think it influences all those things. But if I had to pick one, it would be building the team culture here.
Yeah, it's an offshoot of him. Like, I feel like his demeanor, right? Like his calmness, and as Donovan Darius pointed out, what he said, told you, we're not making it up. Every player will tell you this. Consistency. Give me consistency.
Yep.
Good news, bad news. You're delivering it the same way. You're not selling me a line of BS. Authenticity. That may be the word I'm searching for here. That, to me, may be it when it comes to Doug Pederson. Like, there's no BS with him.
Right.
Seemingly, right? I mean, that may be the way I would go, kind of a something else. And that feeds into building a team culture. If you have that authenticity at the top and players listen to you and they believe in you, it builds that. So all these are interrelated. There's no question about it. Justice Pockets. How would you vote on this one?
I like that. Out of all of them, I like Justice Pockets the most.
Do you?
If I have to pick one.
Justice. People are going to be like, for years, like, how do you get the name
I'm gonna
Justice Pockets?
I'm going to walk around the stadium and everybody's just going to be yelling, Pockets!
A.K.A. Pockets.
Hey, Pocket!
What's up, Pocket?
Over here!
What do you got? What's your vote?
Justice Pockets.
No, not for the name. For Doug Pederson. Justice Pockets. What are you doing here? Play calling, player development, building team culture, something else. Biggest strength.
Building team culture. I think that's anybody can call plays. Obviously, there's not some good ones in the NFL, and fans talk about that. But if you want to become a really, really good coach, you want to be in the upper echelon, you want to be in the top 5, you have to know how to manage different personalities. And football is the biggest out of any other sport because you have so many players with so many different personalities, and you have to know how to manage each one to get the most out of each one.
Do you do some coaching, Pockets?
I do.
You do. Tell for the listening audience who doesn't listen to Hacker After Dark every day, because I'm sure you've gotten your bio out there on Hacker After Dark over the years. This is just Dylan's second day as our producer. Give us a little backstory on the whole coaching thing. What are you up to?
Yeah, so I coached at Baldwin. I started about 2 years ago. It's where I graduated from 2016. So I coach varsity. I do football and track. So we're doing football right now, workouts. And, managing how you coach a kid that, is raised from a grandmother is completely different how you coach a kid from a 2-parent household. And, you have to know each individual kid. So how it used to be, in the 80s and 90s and growing up, it was always just, it was one message and that was it. Now you have to have assistant coaches and talk to kids on the side, and you have to go, hey, man, how you doing, yada, yada, yada. So it's changed a lot in that aspect. So you have to cater to each kid instead of just have one message and then, for the ones that make it, don't make it. No, it doesn't work like that.
Are you guys practicing right now? Like
we're doing summer workouts.
Okay.
Off season.
So is it – boy, I don't know if I want to make this commitment, but maybe I sponsor one of your Baldwin players to go to Double D's football camp for the first one who refers to you as Coach Pockets.
Coach Pockets.
But you cannot tip them off to that and report back if you get any Coach Pockets coming your way. 52.6% went with building team culture. 32.3% say Doug Pederson's greatest strength is his play calling, player development. 11.3%, and something else coming in with the last 4% or so. His ability to do all the other 3 equally well was somebody, so in other words, that he is a very balanced coach. Let's see, ability to identify and get the most out of individual player skill sets, which goes into numbers 1 and 2. Trusting his coaching staff. This is a throwback from Jason. Gus Bradley would say, we think Doug's biggest strength is His strength, of course. And leadership. Let's see, game planning. Overall legitimacy. That goes to kind of what I'm thinking about. Jags _Duval _16. I think authenticity is the biggest strength of Doug Pederson. But let's get the thoughts of a former NFL Pro Bowl lineman as we welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Tire Outlet is now hiring. Visit TireOutlet.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
Big Sirs, what's going on?
How you
are
doing, gentlemen?
We're doing very well, man.
All right.
I had your former teammate Donovan Darius around
Double D.
today. He's been in the building today.
He's been in the building.
Yeah, he's in the building.
Hey,
He sat in for a couple. Hey, I guess you might have been the one guy who didn't want to take on
Did he
an
come off the
Oklahoma
hash?
drill.
Did he come off the hash? Is the question.
Well,
Did he get in the middle of the
he was ready
hallway and come off the hash?
He's always ready to hit somebody.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Well, we got Dylan Denmark, right? We're trying to come up with a nickname, and Double D is unfortunately taken for Dylan. Right?
Trademark
It's taken.
infringement.
Although Donovan did say he'd be willing to do an Oklahoma drill, for the rights to the
I
nickname.
would love to see that.
He goes,
Dylan, I would love to see that set up.
He goes, Double D goes, first time I did an Oklahoma drill, he goes, it didn't go well. And I'm like, really? He goes, oh, yeah, for the other guy. And then he told us how he knocked 2 guys out in a row, knocked them out cold at the Cuse back in the day. I can too, man.
Believe it or not, Oklahoma drill, Leon, the big fella, undefeated.
Undefeated. Now,
only time I did Oklahoma drill was in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. We did it for my whole time I was there.
And you'd be the one blocker.
I was the block. I would have an O lineman and a D lineman.
Right.
And have a running back behind you. All right. And the whole idea, the key was to blow the guy off the ball or him to blow me off the ball.
Get off the block and make the play.
There you go.
Yeah,
undefeated.
Yeah. Undefeated. I'm not surprised.
I tallied it.
I would too, man. I'd run that out there.
Very proud of that.
Because they high up on the back of my football card.
It's no longer, they banned Oklahoma grill now.
Yeah.
You can't do
well,
it.
I mean, look, Jack thought, good idea. Let's throw Tyson Alualu in there. When he was a holdout in camp, he just showed up. Let's throw him out in the Oklahoma drill. Got him hurt first day of practice. So, today we're asking about the current coach of the Jaguars. What's the greatest strength of Doug Pederson?
The greatest strength of Doug Pederson, in my opinion, is he's consistent. And when I mean by consistent, every player that we talk about, every player that we've had on the show that talked about Doug Pederson says that he's the same no matter what, whether you win or you lose. And that's rare when it comes to coaches.
Players love that.
Because coaches tend to flex. Coaches get super excited when they win, and they get super down and on you when they lose. And they say, with Doug, he's consistent. And that's the telltale of this team, and the reason why they come back. I think, in my opinion, the reason why they don't get too excited, they don't get too low. They stay grounded. And they say to themselves, hey, we're in a bit of a bind. We got to find a way out of it. I think that has a lot to do with Doug and his mannerism.
The only thing more consistent is players and former players' love for consistency out of their head coach,
absolutely.
Man. You and Double D, same exact word, consistency, whatever. It's
exactly. I hate coaches that flex. I hate coaches that go up and down depending if we win.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Coaches that flex. I love it. All right, what are you guys getting into today?
Well, we've 66 days to the Jaguars play, so we're going to bring the Mangler in. They're going to talk.
Why not?
Bring the Mangler in, even though it's 66 Jaguars. Coaches coming into 2. We're gonna rank the top 5 NFL coaches going into the season.
All right, Doug Pederson, Pug Dieterson, Dougie P, and Dougie Fresh. Those are my top 5 right now. All right, have a great show, Leon. Appreciate you as well. Sorry you missed Double D, but it could have been a big collision in the hallway.
I did put in, I did put in Leon into the rap name generator, by the way, as he sat down with us.
Okay.
Here's what it spit out for me. Leon L. Cracker Love, a.k.a. Freestyle Jabs.
He does have the punch.
He does.
Right?
Like, I thought it actually
you want
fit him.
Oh, you want one of my freestyle jabs?
Freestyle
Here you go.
jabs.
Bam! Pancake. Now we got people are taking to Coach Pockets on Twitter, which is gonna unofficially that's the leader in the clubhouse. But and then somebody shortened it up to J-Poc, right? Like kind of like Tupac, but P-O-C-K.
It's not bad.
J-Poc.
Yeah.
All right. Lil Dill Pickle. Again.
Lil Dill Pickle.
I'm going to say he's probably going to veto that one is my guess. Like, when did I get soft and give a producer any chance to veto anything? I don't know when this whole thing occurred, but sometime in my old age I've gotten soft on that front. All right, thanks to Lauren Brooks. Yesterday, enjoyed her conversation that she led on the Frangie Show with Hayes Carline and Mike DiRocco yesterday, which inspired our question of the day. Of course, Double D. I don't need to explain that now, right? Stopping by here and go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com. Find out more about the football camp. Get on it, Baldwin kids. Coach Pockets. That's what we're looking for. I'd love a little video evidence of Coach Pockets being referred to by his new name there at Baldwin Summer Workouts. All right, that'll do it for us today. Coach Pockets will be back with us tomorrow. Tom McManus will be in studio. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith will be here with you. So have a great one. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today. Go check out all our content online at 1010XL.com, including yesterday's interview with Jimmy Smith And shortly after this show concludes, Donovan Darius audio up there as well. XL Primetime is next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Yo, Jacksonville, let's go. 2 more.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Is there anybody here can tell me where happiness comes from?
1010XL.
Anyone? All right.
1010XL.
Hey, folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS right here in Jacksonville is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS. IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.